Hello and welcome everyone to First at Tech. I hope all of you are doing very good and very best shape. So today's video is with respect to processors. We will talk in detail what are the processors, what are the functional and technical specifications that are surrounded by the processors, and this video will be inclined towards the Intel series of processors. So I watched a couple of videos in the YouTube. Most of them are very old and have a lot of things have changed since then. So this video becomes very important as of today. So I will give you all the updated informations and what things have changed since 2 to 3 years. So please watch the entire video. So by the way, if you're new to this channel, please subscribe to this channel and click the bell icon. It really helps me to get motivated to make more and more tech videos like this. Also, please like, share and comment in the description box below what next tech topics you want me to cover. I'll make sure that I cover those. So with that being said, let's start the video. When it comes to processor, you will find two different names which are ruling the market. One is the AMD and second is the Intel series of processor. So I'll make a separate video very soon with respect to AMD series of processor, but this video is dedicated to the Intel series. So when it comes to Intel processors, right, they release the processor with a series of generations, and each generation is identified by a current brand modifier. So you will find these terms like i3, i5 and i7. So these i3, i5 and i7 is known as brand modifier of the processor generation. What are the processor generation numbers? I'll come that later, but for now understand that i3, i5 and i7 is the current brand modifier. And with respect to the current development of Intel, the current development code name is Comet Lake, and it is based on the 4th generation of refinement with respect to the 14 nanometer of Skylake processor. So current generation of development is going on and the name is Comet Lake. When it comes to processor, the processor names becomes very important. I mean, it can deliver a lot of information. When you see particularly any Intel series of processor, you will find the processor name is a conglomeration of different digits and alphabets. So it delivers a lot of information along with the different characteristics aspects of the processor. So processor name is very important along with the processor brand, the system configuration and the processor benchmarks. So let's directly dive into the naming convention. So suppose the example is Intel Core i9-9900K. So Intel Core is the branding. Obviously being an Intel processor, you will find the Intel branding. So next is the i9. i9 is the brand modifier. And please remember, it's not the generation number. It does not belong to the generation number. You can maybe take it or call it as a series number. So i9 is the brand modifier. So like this, you will find i3, i4, i5, and this is the i9. It may be called as a series number. So next is 9900. These 4 digits, right? Let's split it in two ways. One is the first 9 and rest 3 900. Okay, so 9 and 900. The first 9 is called the generation number. So this is the 9th generation of i9 brand modifier of Intel Core processor. So it's the 9th generation of i9 family. So first digit is the generation number and the rest of the digit are the SKU number. So higher the number, the better it will be. So for an example, if the processor would be Intel Core i9 9905K, since SKU 905 is greater than 900, right? So this processor belongs to a higher grade of performance. And the last digit is K, right? So K means unlocked version of the processor. So what that means is you can overclock or underclock that. Like this K, you will find several different terms like F that requires a discrete graphics and does not come with a graphics card. So that requires a separate graphics card. So T is a power optimized processor. Definitely you will find that in laptops mode. S means special edition of processor. In case of the mobile processors, it can be divided into H, that is a high performance graphics processor. So H means it comes with a graphics card, and HK means high performance graphics unlocked. So that means in case of this processor in mobile family, this will come with a graphics card and you can change the clock speed with respect to this processor. So next we'll learn a term known as clock speed. I'm sure you must have heard of this term before while running through the specs of a processor or buying a new processor. So what exactly a clock speed is it's the rate at which the processor processes information. So it's the rate of computation of a processor and is usually measured in gigahertz. So in the olden days, the higher the clock speed, the better the processor would have been. But current advancements in technology disprove this idea, and nowadays processor can do a lot more with a lot less clock speed. I mean, to give an example, an Intel i3 processor having a clock speed of 3.6 GHz is not as more powerful as Intel i5 processor having a clock speed of 3.0 GHz. It does not work that way. So the i5 processor having a clock speed of 3.0 GHz is a lot more powerful than the Intel i3 series. But when it comes to the same series of processor, the i5 for example, and when it comes to the same generation of processor, for example the 7th generation, then definitely you can compare the clock speed. Then the theory that the higher the better becomes relevant. So you must have heard of this term cores. When buying a processor, you must have heard that this is a dual core processor, this is a quad core processor, this is an octa core processor. So what does core mean? Essentially, you're getting out of a processor is a single electronic circuit. It's a single chip, but internally that chip is divided into multiple cores, and each core has a capability to perform tasks independently. So each core has their own control logic and is capable of computation alone. So generally a processor can be divided into 2, 4, 6 and 8 cores, and highest it can go up to 18 cores as of today. So the higher the cores, obviously that the better performance will be, but with respect to i3 you will get around 2 to 4 cores depending upon the generation number. With respect to i5 you will get 2, 4 or 6 cores. With respect to i7 you will get 2, 4, 6 and 8 cores. Whereas the i9, the latest and greatest series of processor from Intel, generally surfaces with a core of 6 or 8 cores. So this is what you mean by a core of a processor. So next we'll understand what is known as hyperthreading. Hyperthreading is actually Intel proprietary technique of simultaneous multi-threading information flow. So it's a multi-threading protocol which Intel supports in case of Intel series of processors. What it does internally is to convert a physical core into two different virtual cores. And with respect to these two virtual cores, each and every virtual core can process information irrespective of each other, so they are independent of each other. But do remember that if you compare the performance ratio of two physical cores with respect to two different virtual cores, the performance you will gain out of two physical cores will be far more with respect to two virtual cores. With respect to hyperthreading support, the Intel series of processors supports hyperthreading, and the series i3, i7 and i9 supports hyperthreading, but the i5 misses on that. So you must have heard of this term turbo boost. Turbo boost is again an Intel proprietary technique of increasing the clock speed at a particular instant of time where the resource requirement of the CPU becomes very high. So what it does is, suppose you are playing a game or you are utilizing a graphics intensive application where the CPU power that is required at that point of time increases, right? So what it does is Intel processor is intelligent enough to deliver more information or deliver more computation at a certain point of time by increasing the clock speed of their own processors. So that is the meaning of turbo boost, and most of the Intel processors supports turbo boost. So Intel processors also come embedded with the graphics card, and the terms which you will be seeing a lot more is Intel HD graphics, Intel Iris, Intel Iris Pro, Intel Iris Plus. So these are the four different terms which you will be seeing with respect to graphics that are being embedded in the chipset. So these things are good, but the naming convention which they follow is totally a mess. I mean, it's very confusing. So let's take an example with respect to Intel HD 520, Intel Iris 550 and Intel HD 530. So if you want to compare between these three graphics card, right, here the confusion begins. So Intel Iris 550 is more powerful with respect to Intel HD 520. But Intel HD 530 is more powerful and more capable with respect to Intel Iris 550. So you can see there is so much confusion with respect to which graphics processor to choose. So what is the way out? Way out is to rely on the model number of the processor, rely on the series number, rely on the generation number. So higher the series, the higher the generation, the better the processor will be. So how do you find whether your processor comes with a graphics card or not? If the last letter in the family of processor name, right, comes with a F. So suppose Intel i5 1234F. Okay, so if the F is there in the last, so it does not come with a graphics card. So if the letter in the last is G, it comes with a dedicated graphics card, but it's not supplied from Intel, though the graphics card is embedded within the chip. So if the last letter is H, it comes again with the embedded graphics card, and this time the graphics card is a high performance graphics card. So in a nutshell, rely on the naming convention of the Intel processor, and do not rely on the name of the graphics. Please rely on the naming convention. The higher the series, the more the generation, the better processor you will get. Just look into the F or H or G at the end to find your graphics is embedded within that or not. So in a roundup, we will try to identify which processor is designated for which type of user. So let's talk about i3, i5, i7 first. I will talk the i9 later. So i3 processor is targeted towards a user who is a basic user and wants to use their laptop in a basic fashion. Not a lot of graphics intensive application, not a lot of Photoshop or video editing. It's a basic user want to browse web, watch movies and all those things. So it's a basic chipset, and the cost convenience factor is also very high. With respect to the i5, there comes a very good price to performance match, a very good ratio of price to performance, and it's a very sweet spot. I mean, the latest generation of i5 processor, the 10th generation or the 9th generation, are really very capable with respect to the horsepower. You can do a lot of video editing and graphics intensive applications. You can play a lot of games inside that. I used to have i5 processor laptop, so it really catered me very good, and it's really a good processor, trust me. So with respect to i7, the i7 processors are mainly for the power users who want a lot of multitasking, a lot of tabs being open, a lot of tasks being done at the same instant of time. This i7 processor is specifically designed for resource hungry application, and the application which requires a lot of computing power. So video editing, AutoCAD, Photoshop and all those things you can run simultaneously in a very good manner, in a very smooth manner also. So i9 is definitely the highest grade of processor you can buy. I mean, the Intel, it is the latest series of processors and it's very advanced processor. Also the price is a lot more. So i9 processor is definitely for a very specialized use where you require a very high computing power if required at all. So that's all I had to tell. Hope you liked today's video. I tried to explain in a very simple manner the Intel processor of family. I tried to explain the convention, naming convention which they use. I mean, explaining the Intel family of processor in a simple term was a bit of challenge to me, but I tried my level best, and I hope you liked today's video. So with that being said, please let me know in the comment down below how you liked about this video and what tech topics you want me to cover in the coming sessions. So please subscribe to this channel. Take care of you and your family. Bye bye.